The next gentleman coming out here is one of the best entertainers in our business. I've known him, hush now. I've known him for a long, long time. I knew his father before him. He's played around the world, and most places at least twice. He was one of the very first to start working our country gold tours around all over the country. And he's announced his retirement after his dates in Iowa this week, and 2 weeks from now he is retiring to spend more time with his grandkids. And I think he said something about spending a lot of his time barbecuing in the backyard. Advise him not to eat too much of what he cooks, it might poison him. But we want you to meet once again Mr. Rex Allen Jr.
I tell you what, it's great to be back at the Iowa State Fair. You know why? Throughout my career, I have worked 48 of the state fairs in these wonderful United States about, and I'm here to tell you that as far as I'm concerned, the Iowa State Fair is the greatest one in the United States.
Hey everybody, today on Random Access, we're talking with the one and only Rex Allen Jr. Rex is in Des Moines today. How are you doing today, Rex?
You know, I'm pretty good today. How are you?
Doing real well. You've been to the Iowa State Fair so many times, I'm surprised they don't have something on a stick name for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've worked, I think, 3 or 4 different stages over my career. From the main stage to this one. We were in a tent one year down in the southwest side. But listen, I've worked a lot of state fairs in my career, and in my opinion, the Iowa State Fair is the best one in the country, and so it's always a pleasure to come back. And to come back in my last year on the road is even better, you know.
Well, that's a little bit of what I want to talk to you about. George Strait had a tour a while back called The Cowboy Rides Away, and Kenny Rogers on his Gambler's Last Ride, and I just saw Ronnie Millsap a couple weeks ago, and you are on your Sunrise to Sunset tour. Tell us how that came about and what's going on with that.
People have asked me, why are you retiring? And I said, well, I want to see the world from the other side of the footlights, and I want to go someplace and not carry a guitar. It's like Leroy Van Dyke said to me, he said, what are you going to do when you retire? And I said, well, I'd like to go see fall in New England. He said, well, you've been to New England. You and I worked the Vermont State Fair right during fall. I said, Leroy, I flew in there. No, I drove in my bus with the band. We got there at midnight. I slept all day, got up, went, did a sound check, and then we did the show and left right after the show. I didn't see a darn thing. The other time I was up there, I flew over it. I said, I want to see it. I want to sit down and look at it.
Right. How many years has it been? You've been on tour since when?
Well, I started on tour in 1967.
Right.
Now, the first place I ever performed was when I was 6, 7 years old in Wilcox, Arizona, Dad's hometown at Rex Allen days. I was 6 or 7 years old.
Wow.
So I've been doing this a long time.
Right. And you have connections with Iowa. You recorded songs from Andy Williams, and he's from Iowa.
Yeah, Lonely Streets was one of my big records, and yeah, Andy, I knew Andy when he was in Branson, so I used to play golf with Andy, and he cheated, by the way.
What were some highlights, some real highlights of your career?
Well, I think probably the thing that's going on my tombstone is that I'm the writer of the state song for Arizona. I wrote I Love You, Arizona. And there's only 50 states, you know. That's pretty cool when they make a song you wrote the state song. And so that's a highlight. I think taking Western music to China was a highlight. To perform on the Great Wall of China. First performer to ever do that. I think I have been blessed to travel all over the world, but when it comes to highlights, Des Moines is one.
Right.
Working the fair here is one. It's been a pleasure to be a part of it. I think I've worked it 10 or 12 times in my career. And Old Thrashers down in Mount Pleasant is another one. This will be my 10th time at Old Thrashers. The first time I worked it, I was the opening act for Ernest Tubb, for goodness sake.
Wow.
So, highlights, it all depends on where you start. I don't know. I've had so many wonderful things happen to me in my life that it's hard to choose just one.
And how many shows have you and Leroy worked together?
Gosh, I think 2 not enough. I've got 3 more to do, the show tonight and 2 more to do with Leroy before I hang it up. So I've got at least 3 more with Leroy that I have to work.
Who are some of the performers you love to work with? Leroy is, of course, one of them, but who are some other ones that you see, I'm booked with them, and that's great?
Well, I like Jimmy Fortune a lot. Jimmy's a great guitar player, great songwriter, wonderful friend. I like David Frizzell to work with. He's fun. I like somebody that's coming back in the scene, and that's Lisa Stewart.
Nice.
That was my co-host on Yesteryear on TNN. And Lisa, as a matter of fact, after the first year, Lisa and I have a duet coming out, video and everything else.
Nice.
That's the other thing, folks. I'm not quitting. I'm just not going to work the road like I have. I'm still going to record. On October 7th, I'm releasing Garage Songs 11. Garage Songs 10, which is the current album that's out, is the #1 Western music album in the world right now. And the single, which is called Call of the Canyon, is the #1 Western single in the world. I've had, I think, what I saw was 3.7 million requests worldwide.
Wow.
So it's the biggest Western music song in the last 20 years.
Yeah, and I mean, you're so versatile as well, too. You can do the Western, you can do the country, you can do the easy listening, I would call. Is that probably one of the reasons why maybe the Statler Brothers show called to have you do a little bit of that?
I'll tell you a story of the Statlers. Yeah, they called, and of course I said yes, but after I'd done the show for about 2 or 3 years, actually it was in year 3, Harold and Don came to my dressing room and knocked on the door, and they said, "Rex, we have tried to throw every obscure song that we know at you, and we can't stump you. How in the heck do you know all these songs?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, I listened to, you know, crazy radio when I was a kid growing up. I listened to Dr. Demento, and Dr. Demento played all these songs you guys are requesting." So the Statlers were fun, and they let me sing anything I wanted. And then, of course, during the Yesteryear segments, I sang everything from country to pop, and it was fun. Janie was fun to work with. Yeah. We did some pop stuff together and country stuff. It was fun.
Okay, well, I tell you what, it's been a thrill to watch over the last 20 years or so from my point of view.
Yes, sir.
And now, who do you go see when you sit in the crowd? Or are you going to make any plans to go see anybody? Or,
you know, I haven't really thought of that yet. People. Well, let me put it to you this way. We're developing a new radio station on the internet, an internet radio station. And it is, we're going to call it, not classic country, we're going to call it traditional country.
Sure.
And that means, because there's a lot of artists out there that are singing traditional country music, not what it is now. In the words of Tom Petty, what country music is now is nothing but poor quality 80s rock and roll. and he's right. But it's like, where are the new Tammy Wynette's, and where are the new George Joneses, Gary Morris's, Leroy Van Dykes, and Rex Allen Jr.
Right.
That when you hear them on the radio, you know who's singing. With most of the acts that are out there today, other than Miranda Lambert, I can't tell one act from another.
Right.
But we're starting something called the Traditional Country Radio Stations. We're starting a Traditional Country Music Association. And when it comes to what act am I going to go see, I don't know right now. I think Bobby Marquez is doing some wonderful things. I think that, you know, I would go see, I mean, I'll still come out and go see Leroy Van Dyke.
Sure.
You know, because I want to hear that kind of music.
Yeah. And your dad, of course, a tremendous actor and also a great voiceover artist. And you've done some of that as well.
Yeah.
With Me, Myself, and Irene. I had you sign a poster a couple years ago.
Yeah, right. You did.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Dad did 146 Wonderful World of Colors for Disney. I narrated Me, Myself, and Irene. I'm the guy that did Me and My RC, Me and My RC. So I've done a lot of it, too.
So, well, I tell you, it's just been a pleasure to watch you over the years. Have a good couple of shows today, and
thanks.
And happy trails.
Happy trails to you too, and everybody else.
You bet. Thank you, Rex.
You bet.
Rex Allen Jr. here today on Random Access as we get ready for the big show. 2 shows tonight at the Iowa State Fair in Des Moines.
Give a great big hand, an Iowa hand for all of the folks at the Iowa State Fair, the Sound and Light Company, and the auctioneers. Yeah. Oh, come on, yeah. Yeah. Now in the rose colored yonder, 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 you'll be there. Thank you for listening to my music, and thank you for letting me be a part of your life. Bye, everybody. God bless you. Jr.